Senior correspondent John Miller, former FBI assistant director, is here. He's been talking with his sources inside the investigation. John, good morning. What is the latest?
The latest focuses on that apartment in Revere, on the suspect who is in the hospital that they've been interviewing. I shouldn't say suspect. They're not calling him a suspect, but the person they're interested in that they've been interviewing since the bombing and what they've taken out of there.
Okay, there is also a question of a Saudi who is in the hospital. Is that the same person or a separate person?
Okay, so all of that is the same. The Saudi national is someone who's here on a student visa. He was at the scene along with many other people when the blast happened. As everybody's kind of standing in shock, 3 Boston PD detectives see this guy moving quickly out of the crowd. And as they're watching him, he seems to be moving very deliberately away, which could be a very natural thing after a bombing. They stop him because he's covered with blood and all kinds of gore from the explosion. They think he may be injured. Turns out that that is mostly from other people, but he does have burns on his hands. They engage him. They start asking him questions. There are things about his responses that made them uncomfortable, so they arranged to get him to the hospital. They stayed with him. The FBI has come along. They're talking to him. So he's somebody that they're really interested in.
Take me inside the investigation. There are the devices that we used, evidence there perhaps. There are cell phones. There are surveillance cameras. There are conversations that might have taken place over the cell phone moments before the explosion.
So what you have is all of those things. You've got closed-circuit television cameras. They are literally doing a grid on every approach to that location where the bombs went off, in both of those locations, to see what cameras exist here. Where's a camera in an ATM? Where's a security camera on the side of a building? And they're downloading every piece of tape that, from anything that recorded, to see, can we find anybody we're interested in, anybody we know? Can we pick out somebody walking with 2 backpacks or 2 packages? All that's going on. Then there's the devices themselves, Charlie, which both of which detonated, but they're going to pick up every scrap, every fragment, every piece of that, do chemical analysis. What their earliest analysis says is not very sophisticated bombs, probably something made with something very simple like smokeless black powder, a low-order explosive, but enough to do the job in a big crowd.
But no signature in terms of what they have seen so far.
Too early to say, because where you find the bomber's signature is how he twists the wire, what he uses as a fuse, and they don't have all those pieces together yet.
Okay, Representative Peter King from Long Island said it has the hallmarks of an al-Qaeda attack.
And I think when you look at that, you have to go to your Inspire magazine, al-Qaeda's online publication, where they actually have the instructions for these bombs. You see these simple bombs. It certainly does that. But I think to be on balance, you also will see that these are not sophisticated devices. We've seen the same kind of devices in domestic terror.
2 quick points: no clear evidence that anybody suggested that this was going to happen, and secondly, no one has taken credit for it at this time.